the home of the common Joe and the common Sally in the know, even more so than all those media talking heads.
Well, well, well. Looks like the two Crimson Nations may have something in common yet again, as it seems as though Alabama and Kevin Steele are about to part ways, and Alabama is going to be in the market for another defensive coordinator. As Kevin Steele, from reports from AL.com and numerous other outlets, are reporting that Kevin Steele indeed will retire, and Alabama is going to be on the market for another defensive coordinator. But I think there may be a twist to this. I think this whole thing may have been planned. Let's talk about it. Well, it's over. The 2023 season is officially over as Washington and Michigan played for the national championship last night. And as you saw, Michigan won the national championship. But we are galloping into the off season, and we're not going to stop because with us, it's 365 days a year galloping in with the Outlaw Posse. And here they come. The Outlaw Posse is now in effect. And the Four Horsemen shout outs for this show go to the Bomb Sooner Legends podcast. Great podcast, by the way. Check it out. Great story time. The Rhino 26 and Hoss are mounted up and saddled and ready to go and help us with today's college football invasion. Also, we're going to give a VIP double dip shout out to the Rhino 26 and Marty King. They are VIP donors to the program. I can also be found on Twitter at OCF Productions. I know. It's called X. Now, getting right to it here. Seems like Alabama's in the market for another defensive coordinator. Now, this is the first, I think, for Nick Saban. Some of you Alabama fans out there can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the first time that Nick Saban has had a one-year defensive coordinator. Am I not mistaken in that? So it just, and this is actually Kevin Steele's third stint here at Alabama. I don't know why Kevin Steele just came here for a year. I mean, him and Nick Saban in his first stint sort of had a little bit of a falling out, and Nick Saban had him and Kirby Smart as the co-defensive coordinators after I think Kirby had been here about 2 or 3 years. And it may have rubbed Kevin Steele the wrong way in his first stint at Alabama. Then he came back to Alabama for a short time as some kind of analyst or linebackers coach, that kind of deal. And as you know, Kevin also served as a defensive coordinator at numerous other stops like Clemson and Auburn and whatnot. And he was a head football coach for a short time at Baylor, which didn't go too well for Kevin. Wasn't really fair because back then Baylor pretty much sucked. So it's a hard place to win, as Dave Aranda is finding out. But the whole Kevin Steele thing, man, either one or two things happened here, in my opinion. I think Kevin Steele, he's 66 years old. He came back to Alabama. He had thought that he was going to get that Auburn job at one time when they fired Gus Malzahn. He come in as the interim coach. There was rumors that the Auburn administration and some of the boosters really liked Kevin Steele. They wanted him to be the head coach. I don't think he ever got over that. And I think that Kevin wanted to try it one more time as a head coach, and he just knew that opportunity wasn't ever going to come again. So I think that's one of the reasons why he probably hung it up. Why he only stayed 1 year, it's debatable. It goes back to his first stint, as I was talking about. Nick Saban is a very hard individual to work with. Numerous coaches will tell you that. And it's getting around that he's a hard person to work for. If he's been a hard person to work for quite some time. But I think that there also could be something else involved in this. I think maybe Kevin Steele came in here because and we all know that originally the first person they wanted was Jeremy Pruitt. Now, Jeremy Pruitt was a decent defensive coordinator when he was here at Alabama, but I never understood the whole hullabaloo about Jeremy Pruitt. So I was in a way glad that Jeremy Pruitt didn't get the job. He got a 6-year he got a 6-year show cause from the NCAA. As I got the notes here, old school style. It says here Jeremy Pruitt has a 6-year show cause. Currently, he's at Plainview High School in Rainsville, Alabama, as a PE teacher and a junior high basketball coach. Man, what a big fall. That's a big fall. Can you imagine showing up to school one day? Maybe you're a Tennessee fan and you go into Rainsville High School, because I think that's in northern Alabama. It's pretty close to Tennessee. And boom, there is your head coach. It's now your PE teacher and your junior high basketball coach. I didn't know Jeremy Pruitt was a good basketball player. It's just an odd thing. But anyway, from what a lot of the outlets are saying, a lot of the sources are saying, I think Alabama's probably going to keep this in-house. And that's why I say this whole thing may have been planned. And the reason why I brought up the Jeremy Pruitt thing is because I was thinking, well, maybe Nick Saban brought in Maybe Nick Saban brought in Kevin Steele for 1 year to get the whole situation with Jeremy Pruitt ironed out as to what was going to happen with Jeremy Pruitt and if it was going to be feasible to maybe hire Jeremy Pruitt at a later date. Because he got a 6-year show cause, I found that sort of doubtful now. Alabama can hire him, but it's just not a good look. Auburn did it with Bruce Pearls, the basketball coach at Auburn, but most teams are not. They're not really wanting to do that. I mean, because they feel like they're going to get in the crosshairs of the NCAA, and the NCAA, as you know, these days is itching to prove they still have teeth, and we don't want to give them a reason to show that they have teeth. But it still could have been the plan, but not involving Jeremy Pruitt. Because Lane Kiffin sort of said something earlier this year about a guy who's already on the staff, and that being Travaris Robinson, who's a former safety at Auburn, I think, or defensive back, and now he's a secondary coach at Alabama. Lane Kiffin made the comment that he didn't think Kevin Steele was calling the plays, and that it was Travaris Robinson who was calling the plays, and that basically Travaris was a defensive coordinator in training, is what he was trying to hint around with. And the thing is usually Lane Kiffin says some crazy stuff sometimes, but the thing about the crazy stuff he says is that lots of times it's not really a lie. Unlike Jim Harbaugh, who tells lies profusely, especially about the whole cheating scandal. We know old Jimmy Boy was lying about not knowing and being aware of that shit that was going on, but that's another topic for another day. But Lane Kiffin saying that, and now all of a sudden you got Kevin Steele retiring after just one season, makes me think that Lane Kiffin knew what he's talking about. I think Travaris Robinson may have indeed been in a 1-year training cycle with Kevin Steele, and now that they're probably going to bring him in and be the defensive coordinator, and that's the reason why they already knew that Kevin Steele was only going to stay 1 year. Now, the rivals of Alabama out there beating this shit up, saying, oh, look at there. People can't stand Nick Saban anymore. He's getting too old. He's rubbing people the wrong way. He's running them off after 1 year, yada, yada, yada. I think that might be a little wishful thinking. Now, if that wasn't the plan, and there's another guy on the staff, too, that could be the plan with, and that's Freddie Roach, who is the defensive line coach at Alabama right now. So either Freddie Roach or Travaris Robinson could have been the 1-year plan. If it's the 1-year plan, I'm betting more on Travaris Robinson. But there was also some other candidates mentioned. Charles Kelly, who used to be the defensive coordinator, I think, for a short time at Colorado. He's now the co-defensive coordinator at Auburn. Charles Kelly was a name that was mentioned on AL.com. And these are a couple of candidates that I throw in there. Wishful thinking on my part, maybe. But if we throw enough money at them, who knows? Phil Parker is the most coveted defensive coordinator in the nation. Iowa, he showed how he could basically coach a defense so well that he took that porous Iowa offense and put them on their defensive backs. And I think they won like 10 or 11 games this year. Yeah. So Phil Parker would be an excellent hire if we could get him. I would throw the bank. However much money you can put on a defensive coordinator, I'd put on Phil Parker. The other guy would be Jim Leonard. He was a hot name as a head coach possibility. as he took over as an interim coach at Wisconsin, but he was a great defensive coordinator at Wisconsin as well. Now I think he's like a senior analyst at Illinois. So Jim Leonhard may be a guy that Nick Saban may want to take a look at it as well. But that's all I got today for you guys and gals. You guys and gals tell me in the comment section who you think is going to be the new defensive coordinator at Alabama. And if it is one of those in-house names, do you think that it was a one-year plan the whole time? Like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. That's the big four, and they're free. Also, before I get out of here, there's a little heart right here that's got a little $sign in the middle. If you want to hit that, throw a one-time donation. It's at the bottom of this screen. Also, you can join the Outlaw Posse and get your Four Horsemen shout out, as well as possibly be the comment of the day, as those guys did earlier. It's only $2.99 a month. That's 75 cents a week. That's just a half a bottle of water for the Outlaw. It's a little join button, next to the subscribe button. And if you're on a Apple phone, you may have to go to your laptop or your computer to join. And with that, I'm out of here. KMCA to all the other teams. Class is now officially dismissed.